You keep revisiting the old wound because part of you still thinks the old story owes you a better ending. That is the uncomfortable part. And it's not because you are weak, not because you are dramatic, and it's not because Mercury sneezed in your basement and you're suddenly texting someone you spiritually cremated a long time ago. You keep going back because a part of you is still standing at the scene of their original impact, waiting for someone to finally say, yes, that happened. You were right. You were hurt. You were not imagining it. And this is where July gets interesting. And this is because it's not giving the soft jazz healing montage or the lo-fi beats with a book in your hand. And it's not putting cucumber slices on your soul and telling you, just breathe through this betrayal. July is asking a very specific question. How many times are you going to return to the same wound, hoping it will give you your new identity? Because this is the thing. Sometimes a wound becomes a place, a room, a relationship, a person, a family pattern, a version of you that learned how to survive by staying loyal to the pain. And then life just changes. You change. And the door opens, the timeline shifts. But the nervous system is saying, no, no, no. I know this room. Can give you a tour. Again. I kind of know where the exits are, and I know how to be useful here. I know how to be rejected here. I know how to perform here, and I know how to disappear here. And suddenly healing feels more threatening and even scary than the wound. Because the wound has a programming, it has a script. The wound tells you who to be, gives you a role, the abandoned one, the fixer, the desirable, the talented, but not chosen, the responsible one, the misunderstood one, the one who sees everything and still stays, the one who loves, the one who keeps the peace, the one who acts like it did not hurt because being visible means being vulnerable. And this is where July starts to poke that bruise with a stick. July 1st, Jupiter squares Chiron. Jupiter in Cancer, Chiron in Aries. This is big. Jupiter expands whatever it touches. And Chiron is that wound, that raw place, that old ache, that part of our psyche that grew its wisdom through the exact same thing that broke the innocence. And at the beginning of July, that wound gets loud with this square. And it's not because something terrible has to happen or will happen or happens. Sometimes the wound gets loud because life has given you enough evidence that you have outgrown it. That can be terrifying because if you have outgrown the wound, who are you without the role it has given you? Who are you without explaining? Who are you without chasing? Who are you without the closure? Who are you without the person who you needed to stay emotionally literate? Who are you just as you are, right here, right now? Who are you when you present all this information to people who are not really that great of judges of your truth in the end of the day? And this is the month where that wound could try get your attention through the most simplest things. A memory, a message, a dream, sudden emotional revelation, a reaction, person from the past, a family conversation, your weird body response that feels familiar but still different, a desire to something that you are checking within yourself before you say something, a longing that's not necessarily love, but that familiarity like an old perfume that triggers memories. Jupiter in Leo and Chiron in Taurus. Jupiter for the first time in 12 years and Chiron for the first time in 50 years. Around July 3rd, Jupiter makes a quincunx to the North Node. Jupiter at 0 degrees of Leo and the North Node at 0 degrees of Pisces, about to enter Aquarius because the nodes move in the opposite direction to the planets. And that can feel like your growth and your path are not sitting comfortably in the same chair. A little bit like the dancing chairs. Something in you wants the expansion, and something in you knows there is way more than what you already know. It's like a double whammy. The old karmic wiring can say, just adjust yourself once again before this entrance. Make sure that you fit. Make sure everything is correct. Make sure you're small enough to fit. Check if your buttons are all done properly, if nothing's sticking out. Make the wound useful, become easier to digest. Make the pain productive. Take something out of it. Make lemonade. Go boil some how do you make lemonade? I have no idea. Do you boil it or what do you do? Like you squeeze it out. Just keep on squeezing. Make the old version of you even more lovable. Recycle it. Give it a CPR. No, the story starts cracking. And this is the part. Because on July 7th, Neptune stations retrograde in Aries. And Neptune in Aries is already strange enough. This is where Chiron is and has been for the last at least 6 years. Neptune hasn't. We have never experienced Neptune in Aries on our nervous system in this lifetime. I mean, Neptune in Aries is the fog entering the house of our identity. The illusion doesn't disappear quietly when Neptune is in Aries. It starts leaking. You can see where you confused sacrifice with spiritual maturity. You can see where you have confused longing with love, survival identity with your soul identity. You start to see where your compassion was mismatched with the actual connection. And on the same day, the moon entering its last quarter. So there's that simmering, that emotional simmering, and the temperature is getting lower, and we just get glazed. An emotional crust is forming, and it's a release point. And we understand and feel that we cannot keep dragging this old wound into the next chapter. We cannot make it a password that we enter ourselves. We cannot keep returning to the scene, to the same scene, because it's familiar. Because in truth, it's a reciprocity game. The scene is always evolving, always changing, and we just can revisit it with the memory, and we can see what happened before that scene occurred. What is the original, untouched state of that scene before everything happened? Venus enters Virgo on July 9th, and this is very important because after all this fog and fantasy and wound licking and revisiting and painting the scene or revisiting the scene, Virgo in Venus in Virgo asks you, what is actually happening right now? Who is actually loving? Who is helping you? What is functional right now? What is actually pure? What is clean? What is respectful? What improves your life when no one is around, nobody is watching, nobody is judging? This is love as discernment, love as standards, Love as practical evolution, embodied. Venus in Virgo helps you ask, is this healing? Or am I just maintaining the wound? Is this love? Or am I managing emotional debris? Or am I afraid what peace asks me to become? On July 10th, North Node sextiles Chiron. Very interesting. This is where the wound can become guidance, not necessarily an identity, because there's a difference. When the wound is an identity, it says, stay here. This is who you are. This what defines you. When the wound becomes guidance, it says, this is where you have learned the pattern. Now choose the exit with your eyes wide open, your will intact, your flame burning. And then we reach new moon in Cancer on July 14th. And this is the emotional root of it all. Cancer energy is all about home, safety, family and belonging, emotional foundation, the private self, that little creature inside of you that likes belly rubs, just wants somewhere safe to land, somewhere safe to sleep, eat a nice hearty meal, listen to a lullaby. And this new moon is not surface level. It's asking, what did you call home? Because it was familiar. What did you call safety? Because it repeated a pattern from your childhood. What did you call love? Because it activated some nostalgia or ache. What did you keep revisiting? Because the wound reassured you that it was the proof that something mattered once. And this new moon in Cancer asks you to plant a new emotional root, not the old one, new one, and not someone else's, your own potential in your body, in your private truth, the place inside of you that knows what is safe and doesn't confuse the false feeling of safety, even if your mind is still building arguments for both pros and cons. Which one is it? Coming back full circle to that intuition again. And then mid-July gets quite electric. July 15th, Uranus sextiles Neptune. Uranus has entered Gemini, has been in Gemini for some time now. And yeah, it's quite, quite a meetup in the sky. On July 18th, Uranus trines Pluto. Crazy. Pretty much that's how I would describe this transit. Crazy. Good crazy. It's a trine. Subtle, maybe. Definitely powerful. The inner pattern starts finding that exit and jumping through the chairs to get to it. The old psychic fog starts to connect to real change. The private wound begins to link into larger transformation. This is where you suddenly have this aha moment and you understand what took you years to get, or why did it take so long. You're naming it now. You're putting a spotlight in your mind on it. You see the full structure from the tips of the tree to the root of the tree with all the squirrels and hidden nuts in there. Not because somebody explained it to you or showed you, because your body stopped protecting the lie. Yay! Around July 20th, Jupiter trines Neptune, Jupiter in Leo trines Neptune in Aries, and opposes Pluto in Aquarius, where the North Node is heading into Aquarius. What's going on here? This is huge. Jupiter trine Neptune can open your faith, can put you online spiritually. You can get very tender, a sense that something bigger is finally moving in your life. But Jupiter opposed Pluto at the same time. That is the power struggle underneath that healing fantasy. So the question becomes, are you using spirituality to actually transform? Or you make the wound feel like holy You are a martyr. Are you expanding into the truth, even if it's uncomfortable and bigger than what you thought the scope of this was? Or are you expanding just the drama part of it? Are you finding the source, the eternal source, the creator? Or are you using this language, this God language, to keep emotionally entangled in the pattern that is no more? This is where July gets honest. And I love July for it. Because the wound you keep revisiting might not be the thing that hurts you. It may be that identity that you build after the wound. The identity that says, I'm the one who has to work harder for love. I'm the one who has to prove my value. I'm the one who has to be useful, to be kept around, have some goods in my basket. I'm the, what is it, Red Riding Hood. I'm the one who can see the potential and love it, even though the sky's red and waving. I'm the one who can understand why they're not showing up. I'm the one who can handle crumbs because I have survived way worse. And July says, yes, dear, you have survived. But survival is not the same as free choice, is it? Just because you can endure something doesn't mean you like deserve it, and doesn't mean that it should be in your life. It doesn't belong in your life. And this is where the wound loses its little home. Because on July 21st, we have a first quarter moon in Libra. So the emotional root of Cancer new moon meets the emotional mirror on the equal ground. Do you collapse? Do you perform? Do you become agreeable, charming, easy, fine? I'm fine. How are you? I'm fine. Right. Do you abandon your own verdict so the other person feels less exposed? And the same day, Jupiter sextiles Uranus. Same Jupiter in Leo sextiles Uranus in Gemini. And this can bring that opening, which is very sudden, strange opportunity, a shift in perspective, a new door. And I love that. But you will not see this door if you're still face down, sniffing for that wound somewhere. The old floorboards, like that's what I mean. The sun enters Lear on July 22nd, and now the energy changes. And the question becomes, what part of you wants to live this life? Live and love this life, not necessarily just always processing, but staying in the moment. Leo brings our heart desires, the joy that we have a natural born right to experience, to life again, online. And Mercury goes direct in Cancer on July 23rd. So the mind begins to clear and the guitar's finally tuned. We have been picking that melody and now we improvise the melody. The sentence arrives, the communication becomes clearer, and the decision forms. July 23rd, Neptune sextiles Pluto, Neptune in Aries, Pluto in Aquarius. We're coming like full circle here. July 26th, Saturn turns retrograde in Aries. Big month. This is not random. The architecture is shifting behind the curtain for sure. Saturn retrograde asks us, what responsibility has been avoided that you have avoided because the wound gave you an excuse? Do you need a boundary? Do you need maturity? Where does it begin? Where does it end? We already know. We already know that. Where does it begin? Early days still for Saturn in Aries. We'll be here for 3 years. Buckle up. It's not going to be its first and last retrograde here. So the North Node is by this time in Aquarius, and it finally pulls us into that Pluto and Aquarius space more overtly. This is the theme for the next year and a half. South Node will be in Leo, North Node in Aquarius. It's gonna be very instant. It will pull us towards our future, our goals, our wildest dreams, community, craziest networks, new platforms, bigger patterns, collective freedom, and the version of you that is not just healing for your own sake. You actually understand that you're bigger than that. You are part of this whole big cosmic collective, this timeline, this golden timeline that is threaded through your body right here, right now, through your DNA, through your wounds that you remember, through the ones that you rewiring, reconstructing, rebuilding, so that the future, not just for yourself, but for the future generations, is divine, living, full of light. And then July 29th brings us to the full moon in Aquarius. And this is the big reveal. Cancer new moon planted the emotional root. Aquarius full moon shows the future pattern. It asks, where does this future belong in a wider, bigger segment of life, in a larger system that is organic and it's working seamlessly between nature, man, technology, knowledge, wisdom, heart center, spirituality, person to person, one to many, many to one, friend to friend, sister to brother, brother to sister. Just the collective. Who are you when you stop making pain the main evidence of things, of how things are? What future becomes available to you where you no longer organize yourself, your identity around what has happened? Because that is the whole July arc. The wound comes up, the pattern gets exposed, the emotional root is reset, power structure begins to shift. And with the full moon in Aquarius, you're not just asking, oh, what happened to me? Like, why it happened? You're asking yourself, what future I am not available for because I keep coming back to this? And that is the real question. Because some wounds are not asking for a thorough logical analysis. They're asking for silence and breath, conscious silence. Not another message, not another chance. They're asking for you to feel life is back. Now let's go through the signs. Use your rising sign first if you know it, and sun sign if you don't. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Appreciate you being here, and let me know what you think in the comments. And look forward to see you in the next video. Love you. Bye. Aries, the wound you have been revisiting is tied to your home, family, your private matters, matters of the heart, your emotional foundation, and your family story, your private self. And this is not about being tough enough. This is about a part of you that learned to move fast because sitting still meant feeling everything. You may keep revisiting the old patterns, emotional dynamics, emotional rooms, like a quest. You're looking for the key and the time is ticking and you need to get out. The old versions of yourselves that you had to fight to exist in them. You compromised when you acted unbothered, when your inner child was throwing the toys around and quietly screaming. Now you see that strength without emotional safety becomes a performance. You choose a home inside yourself that doesn't require constant battle. The wound is not your birthplace anymore. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Appreciate you being here, and let me know what you think in the comments. And look forward to see you in the next video. Love you. Bye. Taurus, the wound you have been revisiting is all about your voice and your mind, the way you explain your reality, the daily thoughts of yours. You may keep returning to the same situation, the same story, same. Maybe I said it way too loud. Or maybe I said too much. Or maybe they didn't understand me. But part of you knows they understood right, just enough. Just they understood enough. You compromised when you kept translating your truth into the language you no longer knew how to speak. Now you choose that peace is not created by the words you swallow. You choose clarity. You choose the words that do not make your throat tighten, your body tighten, or anything else tighten. The wound does not get to narrate your life story anymore. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Appreciate you being here, and let me know what you think in the comments. And look forward to see you in the next video. Love you. Bye. Gemini, this is about value, money, self-worth, desire, stability, the way you measure what you deserve. You may keep revisiting the wound of not feeling quite enough, not chosen enough, not loved enough, not comfortable enough, and not valued enough. And then you try to become shinier, quicker, more impressive, and more useful. You compromised when you made your worth dependable on the reaction you received. Remember that attention is not always value. You choose what lasts, not what briefly applauds you. Your worth is not a group project. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Appreciate you being here, and let me know what you think in the comments. And look forward to see you in the next video. Love you. Bye. Cancer, this is personal. This is your identity. Your body, the face you see in the mirror, the version of you that has been changing quietly while everyone else still assumes they know you. You may keep revisiting the wound of feeling misunderstood, emotionally used and dismissed, treated like a container. You compromised when you became the safe place, but no one ever asked if you actually felt safe. Now you see yourself, not the memory of you, not your emotional job description. You choose the version of you that no longer needs to be needed to feel real. Your identity is not a shelter for other people's storms. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Appreciate you being here, and let me know what you think in the comments. And look forward to see you in the next video. Love you. Bye. Leo, the wound you keep revisiting is hidden. It is in the subconscious, the old grief, the spiritual exhaustion, the private patterns no one sees. You may keep revisiting something that you cannot fully explain. A dream, a fear, some sadness, some secrets. A sense that something has ended, but there is still an echo of it. You compromised when you performed brightness, when something inside of you was very quiet, contemplating, and not really wanting the spotlight. You were asking for quiet. You choose restoration. You choose your sacred space. You choose to stop entertaining something that exhausts you, drags you down. The wound does not get the front row seat anymore. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Appreciate you being here, and let me know what you think in the comments. And look forward to see you in the next video. Love you. Bye. Virgo, the wound is in your friendships, your networks, your future vision, the people you thought were aligned. You may keep revisiting the ache of not belonging where you once were invested in. The group changed, the cycle shifted, the dream matured. And maybe you just kept being mindful and reasonable around people who didn't necessarily match your direction anymore. You compromised when you made yourself useful in the spaces that did not nourish your future. You choose people who meet your standards without you necessarily thinking, oh, I feel guilty for even having them. Belonging is not worth your self-abandonment. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Appreciate you being here, and let me know what you think in the comments. And look forward to see you in the next video. Love you. Bye. Libra, the wound is in your path, your visibility, your life direction, reputation, and work. This is not small. You may keep revisiting the ache of being seen amongst others people's expectations, being shaped by approval and being shaped by the outcomes, the deliverables, being liked for the version of you that was put in the box and easy to understand. You compromised when you made your direction more acceptable than honest. Now you see that you cannot keep building your path around keeping everyone comfortable. You choose reputation with the backbone. You choose the work that reflects who you are becoming. The earth version of success does not get to manage your future. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Appreciate you being here, and let me know what you think in the comments. And look forward to see you in the next video. Love you. Bye. Scorpio, the wound is in your belief, your faith, travel, learning, and bigger meaning in your life. You may keep revisiting the moment where your worldview cracked. The person, the place, the teaching, the experience that you had that made you question everything and your understanding and meaning of everything in life. And maybe you kept on trying to figure something out that just showed you the limit of your old faith. You compromised when you stayed loyal to the belief that made you smaller. Now you see that the truth is not always comforting. It is clean. Choose the path that asks you to expand without betrayal of your inner knowing. The wound is not your religion. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Appreciate you being here, and let me know what you think in the comments. And look forward to see you in the next video. Love you. Bye. Sagittarius, the wound is in your intimacy, trust, power dynamic, shared resources, energetic ties, and the parts of life where you get to merge with others. You may keep revisiting the old wound, the betrayal, the debt, and the obsession. The emotional contract no one signed out loud, but everyone knew about it and felt it. You compromised when you mistook the intensity for truth. Now you see that not every deep connection is sacred. Now you choose clean power. You choose intimacy that does not cost you your nervous system. The tie is not stronger than your freedom. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Appreciate you being here, and let me know what you think in the comments. And look forward to see you in the next video. Love you. Bye. Capricorn, the wound is in the relationship. Partners, mirrors, contracts, the list goes on. You may keep revisiting the old relationships where you lost balance, where you overfunctioned, where you became mature enough for two people and you called it love. You compromised when you carried the structure all by yourself. Now you see who meets you and who leans on your strength like rented furniture. You choose reciprocity. You choose partnership that does not punish you for having faith in the relationship, for having a path of your own. Your love life is not a rehab for unavailable people. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Appreciate you being here, and let me know what you think in the comments. And look forward to see you in the next video. Love you. Bye. Aquarius, the wound is in your daily life, the routine, your health, your daily habits, the mechanics of your self-respect. You may keep revisiting the exhaustion, the burnout, the small habits that are quietly telling the truth. The body has been keeping score while the mind was building castles and theories. You compromised when you normalized depletion. Now you see that your routine is not boring. It is evident. You choose the life that supports your nervous system and your spirit, not just your ideas. The future does not arrive through self-neglect. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Appreciate you being here, and let me know what you think in the comments. And look forward to see you in the next video. Love you. Bye. Pisces. The wound is in love, creativity, romance, children, risk, joy. You may keep revisiting the ache of being desired but not cherished, inspired but not held, creative but severely inconsistent. In love with potential but tired in reality. You compromised when you called emotional flooding devotion. Now you see that love should not dissolve your footing. You choose joy with structure. You choose romance. Does not erase you. The wound is not proof that it was deep. Sometimes it was just consuming. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Appreciate you being here, and let me know what you think in the comments. And look forward to see you in the next video. Love you. Bye.